So I just got off the panel with Brian Pasch and a few others.
We had a great time on that.
And the topic was almost a rehash of what we've talked about last year.
Yep.
And what's great is I still remember being in that room back there, and there was like 3 people in there when I was talking about CDPs.
Right, it was like crickets, right? I mean, we've done a lot of progress, though, in the last 2 years.
But what I told the soda guys is like, you just got to give Brian a seed of an idea, and when you integrate it into your conversation, it amplifies and the whole market moves.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of interest now with the CDP research report.
Yes.
Just dealers aware of how dirty their DMS data is.
Yes.
And more importantly, how much waste is in the ecosystem because there's too many cooks in the kitchen.
Absolutely. Now, I do think that the next step is what leads up to a CDP and everything that goes into it, and what do you do with it after? Because right now there's activation. That's a broad term right now for ads.
Yep.
But there's activation on offers, and you could actually change your pricing based on this on a one-to-one basis, which is legal. It's allowed if you do it on a one-to-one basis, right?
Personalized offers based on other signals that may have come in to your data set.
Yeah, like if you bail out on an e-commerce process on a Shopify store, what do they offer you? 15% off.
That's right.
Maybe 20% the next time.
Free shipping.
Yeah. So obviously dealers can't do any of that, but even from a kind of a service basis, they could be using that for coupons. So there's just so many ways to use that CDP data, and I think that's where what comes after is not spoken about too much. We've just kind of had so much. It's almost like there's a glut of stuff that we need to do for CDPs.
Right, just build the infrastructure.
Right. And so what I'd love to do over the next year is sort of inspire what comes after, and that may help push people through the finish line of getting started.
Right, I think let's just use a common opportunity, a trade process.
Yeah.
Somebody goes through the trade process, but they don't finish it, okay? Or they finish it, but they don't communicate. Obviously, that customer's probably wasn't happy with that trade value.
Yes.
How do you use that signal?
Yeah.
Not just
how do you offer, hey, come in now and we'll give you $500 extra.
That's right. But it should be like personalized, like not like call them 12 times and beat them into submission, but okay, we seem to have lost them. Let's do a dip on market demand.
Yes.
Did the guy misquote or punch in something wrong? Oh, wow. You know what? We do have a few people on wait list for that vehicle. What could we, you see what I'm saying?
The margin. So Basil, which is a dealership group out of Buffalo, New York, we helped them build through our API integrations, our API proxy, their own little trade-in tool.
Right.
It's very lightweight, right? It's not heavy, it's not robust like many of the ones that are in the market.
Conversation.
It's just to get the conversation. And that data is feeding the CDP, and it's actually connected to all the traffic that any of their 7 sites get.
Right.
So now you can actually see someone who does a trade-in, who pauses or stops, shows up at one of the dealership sites a few months later, and an ad shows up saying, would you like to finish what you started?
Yeah.
These are the opportunities. And we do this at Orbee to serve as reference designs to just inspire. Right. But what we're doing with, say, Automotive Mastermind or others is saying, hey, now that we've sort of proven it with these reference prototypes, let's go do something exciting. So you talked on stage about like how you can't just replace decades of data mining out of the gate, right? And this is why our relationship with, S&P Mobility is really powerful, because we're not going to replace their BPS score, their behavioral prediction score, all the work they've done. And so I think that many companies in this ecosystem have to see it as an opportunity. Even if they're not sure, they should take the gamble, and they should just have a way to leave. Find the exit door if you need to know where it is. It's like an airplane, right? If you have exits, you can leave this way, but don't wait.
Right.
And so whether it's a vendor or a dealer group, I think everyone does need to start something. And we're going to work together on promoting that more.
Yeah, right? I see it. I mean, one of the big eye-opening, conversations with dealers I'm having is once they understand how much low-hanging fruit is available, they don't want to re-engineer their equity mining process. They're like, but can my equity mining company tap into the CDP? Like for Automotive Masterminds, we're working on that project. The service marketing. Hey, maybe they like their service marketing company, but they know there's waste. We're not talking about replacing. We're just saying, service marketing company, pick up your data, not from the DMS, but from here. So I think it's, of course, simple things that the CDP does well. Sure.
Yeah.
There could be reduction in vendors who are in the mix.
Yeah.
But for core excellence that have been developed over years and years, equity mining, custom direct mail pieces, we're just empowering better data
of that,
right, to
get better outcomes. Yeah, and I say that a lot of our integrations, whether they're agencies or service providers, big and small, or data companies, or even Call Review, who was on stage with us. Like, what we didn't talk about is we're actually doing bi-directional data. So right now, a lot of talk is get data into the CDP.
Right.
What we're focused on is, okay, now, what's the trade-off? Why would a vendor care to do that work? They've got dev resources they're tied on, right? They've got pipelines of OEM programs they need to make sure they're keeping happy and flowing. The way we do it is say, you give data here, and here's what comes back out into your software, and then their software just gets 10.
Right. I'll give you an example. Call Review, they were on the stage. If a dealership's using Call Review for their inbound calls, to be able to do a data dip into the CDP and see maybe what email offer was sent to them.
Yes.
Have they been to the website shopping for cars?
Yeah.
Right. That's not in the CRM. That's not in the DMS. And to be able to do a pop-up and saying, hey, Brian Pasch is calling, just like, you know, he got the $499 lease offer for the Camry, and he has done XYZ. Providing context, that two-way solution then is a win-win for everyone.
It's a win-win, and we see it happen when we call an airline because they just rebooked our flight. It's like, are you calling about the flight that was rebooked, right?
Yes.
And the same can easily be done with some small wins, right? You don't need robust data. I mean, we were talking at Trade Pending about their pricing tool and integrating that in,
right?
And being able to like react to that in real time. In fact, I did that for him. So basically, the opportunity to do that is easy. Now, how those other systems integrated in, whether it's an embedded hint to the user, you know, call trackers have whispering that could be done, or a deep link that says, hey, click here, salesperson, and it'll give you a quick cheat sheet on what to say. All of that is fair game. And again, I don't see this, based on our work we've done, as these epic projects of hundreds of thousands of dollars. You don't need Deloitte, McKinsey. You could actually do this very simply. And a lot of the vendors we're seeing are no longer, like you said on stage, like maybe a year ago, was like, oh, we're not sure if we're going to do that. The momentum has become so...
It's turning.
It's turning, and now they're saying, look, why fight it?
Right.
Let's join it. And in fact, it can make our system better. So if, you know, we find ourselves being embedded in a lot of different vendors, we love that.
And that was a smart decision. And you jumped in early and realized that data sharing had to have an infrastructure, the plumbing, you know, kind of being that middleware connector to all these automotive-specific platforms is a win for people who want quick deployment, real use cases based on their first-party data.
Absolutely. So, look, I think even the middleware piece, it's like we had to find a home. And I think it became confusing even to ourselves. Like, what are we? Where, you know, everyone would say, you're doing all these things. And we said, actually, it's not all that different. It's just the middle. Right. So, yeah, I appreciate that. And you noticed that pretty early on. So thanks for having me on stage with you.
It's been great.
Cool.